I'm wondering what happens if a large number of students don't return in September but attempt to reclaim a classroom spot in October or later.
Yeah. So this is why it's so critically important for school districts to be doing an enhanced registration enrollment outreach, which many districts are doing right now. There are districts like Surrey, Richmond, Vancouver, a number of districts in different regions across British Columbia that are doing exactly that, to determine where students are at, what their family decision-making looks like, to have an opportunity to explain what local school plans look like, and to see what their family situation is like and their intention to return to school, or they're looking for an additional option. What we heard from school districts, and we've had these discussions for a number of weeks, is that they wanted funding flexibility and security to be able to deliver things a little bit differently, understanding that we are in an unprecedented school year. And that's what we're confirming today. So district leaders have appreciated that direction, have worked with us on how it might work, and they're going to have a much more accurate picture of what that demand looks like. It's going to look different in different parts of the province, there's no question about that. What I have been given some additional comfort in is that the enthusiasm and the confidence in the school system to be able to respond once they're given flexibility to serve all families aligns perfectly with our ministry mandate to make sure that every kid come September is involved in an education program no matter where they live in the province.
Yeah, I'm wondering about the September 30 count. Schools will organize their classes, they'll staff up. How much flexibility will they have after that point?
Well, I think what's really crucially important is the orientation week from September 8th to 11th, and the, as I mentioned, the enhanced outreach that's being done personally by school leaders with local families to make them aware of those opportunities, to stay in touch with them as they make their decisions. We are going to remain flexible with our school district partners. We are partners in making sure that all families are supported. And we respect that there are different choices being made by different families based on their circumstances. So, I think it's encouraging to see that a number of districts are beginning to develop and provide options that maybe weren't anticipated a couple of months ago, and that all districts are explaining their plans, which have just been posted today, to give local accurate information and give families the opportunity to see what school will look like in their district, and to carry on those conversations to confirm enrollment. So whether it's in a remote program or in class, what I've said today is that the funding is secure. The Ministry of Education, our government, the province of BC, wants to make sure that districts are kept whole and have funding that allows them to be flexible and nimble and provide the responses and education programs that they need to do for their local families.
I'm just wondering, lastly, just a little bit more clarity on the possibility of the remote learning option. Is this something that will be mandatory for each district to provide? I'm thinking districts like Surrey or Vancouver. And then what would the message be to families in those districts that maybe don't get that option if these remote learning options aren't mandatory?
Right. So we do know that Vancouver and Surrey are out determining demand right now. They have active surveys that are school-based, looking at what the intentions today are for parents about returning their children to in-class instruction or something else. They have worked with their district administrators and teaching staff to look at other options. The thing they wanted from the province in terms of the conversation we've been having over the last number of weeks was funding confirmation and funding flexibility to be able to serve families with an education program if it is delivered a little bit differently. So I think you'll see many districts in Metro Vancouver, for example, pursuing similar courses of action that are happening right now. But again, it will look differently in different parts of the province because it always does. That's the great diversity of education in BC. We wouldn't seek to impose a solution on Arrow Lakes that wouldn't work for Vancouver nor vice versa. So what all districts, I think, are going to benefit from, though, is that they will have funding security and funding flexibility to be able to continue to serve communities. And as I mentioned, we have 30 districts right now working with First Nations communities and the broader community around remote learning options that they've indicated are things that they want to explore as an additional option come September.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, and then just quickly, what about students who are in programs of choice like French immersion? I guess what is the plan at the provincial level to make sure they don't lose their spots?
Yeah. So one of the things that districts stressed in many cases as a priority in configuring timetables and semesterly systems was to preserve the maximum amount of choice they could to keep kids engaged in the kind of learning pathway they decided for themselves in a secondary school situation, to keep on moving towards higher education or the kind of work that they want to do following school. I know that in terms of French immersion programs and its availability with regards to distributed learning, that's an area where the ministry is going to sit down with stakeholders to discuss exactly that in the coming days. But I know that districts in their plans, elementary, middle, and secondary schools, have done an incredible job preserving choice programs that are delivered in their local schools.